Chris Mannix for the crossover alongside Rowan Ned Carney and Michael Shapiro. Guys, the Knicks look like they are headed for a first round playoff exit. So we have to ask, are they being exposed by the Hawks? Or Rohan, were they overhyped all along?
This might be a little bit of a cop out, Chris. I kind of think the answer is neither. I don't know that they were overhyped as much as their fans were maybe rightfully excited about having a team back in the postseason. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett were both healthy during pretty much the entire regular season, which certainly helped them a lot. Tom Thibodeau's kind of always proven, for the most part, that he can take a team and lead them to success in the regular season. I think anyone who was believing them as real contenders, I would ask you why. I don't know that the roster ever was built that way. I think what's happened, Chris, simply they've maxed out. They maxed out as a really, really good regular season team that can win on any given night. But during the playoffs, I think they have obvious deficiencies that are being exposed right now. And Chris, you and I have touched on this in the past and other places, but you look at this roster. I mean, they're relying on cast-offs like Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, Taj Gibson. Derrick Rose has been great to them, but he's also been kind of bounced around the league to a degree for the last few years. So anyone who believed in them, I think, was really making the mistake. I would have questioned those people. Why are you so confident that this team can contend? But I don't think that they were overhyped. I just think that they simply maxed out, and they've reached their ceiling, and the Hawks are a better team.
Yeah, I think this idea of overhyped is kind of a harsh way to put it, right? I don't think anyone really took the Knicks as anything more than a fun story. And guess what? It has been a fun story. They got a home win at MSG. I mean, it is a bit disappointing that they've looked so overmatched against the Hawks, but I think that's more says more about Trae Young's brilliance and the kind of the depth of this Hawks team than the Knicks. And yeah, I mean, it's a team with a pretty hard ceiling right now. I mean, next year you'll get some development from RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, but you look at Julius Randle as your best player. There's certainly a ceiling on that. That's not to disrespect Randle. That's not to make any judgment upon him as a player. But until the Knicks can really land, one of these superstar talents, they're not going to be considered a finals contender. I don't really think anyone did this year anyway. It's just kind of sad to see their season come to an end soon, like it will.
Look, the Knicks were beating teams during the regular season because they played harder than them. They played hard for 72 games this year, as hard as you can possibly play. And in the regular season, you can squeeze out a few extra wins because of that. But in the playoffs, everybody's playing hard. Everybody's playing for every single possession. And I think because of that, you're seeing teams with a little more talent like Atlanta have an edge over New York. And with Julius Randle, his first playoff experience here, his first opportunity to see what playoff defenses are going to show up. I've been watching this entire series. Julius Randle is getting a similar defense to what guys like James Harden had in the past, where if a team knows you're kind of a one-man band offensively, and Randle's not as, one-man bandish as James Harden was, but he's still a big part of that Knicks offense, you're going to get a lot of the attention. What Randle's seeing is a defender right in front of him, be it Danilo Gallinari or somebody else, and a defender right behind him, be that Clint Capella or some other big that's in the game. That's really, I think, affected Julius Randle's ability to play, and that's something he's going to learn from moving forward. I think, look, I kind of agree with you guys, Michael. I think this is a team that needs a talent infusion. You see what the Knicks have, and you can bring Julius Randle back next year. They will. RJ Barrett will continue to grow. But for this team to go from being a middle playoff team to the next level, it's not about coaching or internal development. It's more players. It's a better point guard that can be your starter on this team. It's more shooting from the outside. All the things that were concerns for the Knicks during the regular season, Mike, they have been largely exposed in the playoffs.
Yeah, when you mention a talent infusion, I think that's kind of exactly what they need. Now, how they go about doing that is kind of an interesting thing. I've already heard kind of this Kawhi to New York chatter, going about on Twitter. I'll kind of hesitate to buy any of that for now. Kawhi Leonard has quite the financial incentive to stay in Los Angeles. He engineered his way to Los Angeles, so cool on that front. Do the Knicks go ahead and kind of explore Lonzo Ball or another guard in free agency? That's something I'm kind of wary of. So necessarily their path to their next star player is something that I'm going to think is really interesting. And there's no real easy route for the Knicks here, like the Celtics, to become that kind of next tier team in the Eastern Conference.
Well, they do have some cap flexibility there, and a lot of their players are young. They don't have those dead contracts that they've had in the past. So, look, I think this year, the way the Knicks have played, it's going to make signing with them in the offseason the most appealing it's been probably in this century. I would say that almost for sure. For more, check us out over at SI.com.